Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again. My colleague, my friend over there, that is former NFL great Trey Thomas. I'm Derrick Gunn. Together, we are Grilling the Birds, brought to you by Inside the Birds. And Trey, oh my goodness, people are losing their minds after what happened to the Eagles against the Rams on Sunday. But then again, this is Philadelphia, so it's exactly what you expect.
Absolutely. I mean, when you go down there and you lose another game, especially when you come in there, for whatever reason, everybody just felt like, oh, okay, we're going to show up to Washington, go down there. It's going to be just like the old days where we would go down to Washington, come out of there with a win. You know, you've been beating the Rams for the last 3 times that you've matched up against them. So again, you felt like, oh, okay, this is another game that we have in the bag. But then the Rams come to town, and it didn't have the same outcome. Your quarterback went out there and just had an awful game. So here you are. You found yourself, again, 0-2. And you know, the city's going to come down on you, especially with the effort that you start seeing out there on the field.
And let's start with the quarterback, if you will, because everybody, and I mean just about everybody, is ready to put the quarterback Carson Wentz on a fast train out of town. His numbers overall on Sunday, 26 of 43, 242 yards, 0. And let me emphasize, 0 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. That's now 4 interceptions in the first 2 games of the season. Are you surprised people are killing Carson Wentz right now?
No, you know, just because of I mean, you're the quarterback. And when you have a performance like that, especially when you go back and you watch the film and you see all of these missed throws, these missed opportunities out there, you know, you have to expect some criticism. And you know, and people, he's already kind of been on the bubble because you've had some situations where you had the Folesian society. You just got over that. And, you know, and then now you bring in your second round draft pick, Jalen Hurts. So, you know, he's going to be under the microscope. And when you come out of a game like this, then you have to expect some type of criticism and expect fans to kind of, you know, hey, man, we need you to get going.
Trey, what shocked you the most about Carson's performance or lack thereof on Sunday?
What shocked me the most was just how many opportunities he missed. Again, I'm going to put together a video, and you're going to see a video right here where you can see Carson Wentz just missing all of these different opportunities.
So Carson starts sluggishly. They pick it up in the latter part of the half. Going into the early portion of the third quarter, they get close, and they're driving, potentially to take the lead. And, oh, my goodness, he throws one down the middle, pick, drive over. Momentum goes back to the Rams. And at that point, that's your ball game right there.
Yeah, that play right there really did take this wind out of the sails because you did have some momentum. You're out there driving the ball, guy. Your offensive line is out there battling for you. You're able to run the ball. The protection is just out of this world. You have time, and then here you go. He comes out there and he tries to make just what I would think ill-advised throw, and he was off balance. His footwork was awful. The way he tried to throw it, his feet were all separated. He was falling back from it, and you just put your receiver in another bad situation where you had J.J. Arcega-Whiteside coming across the middle, and then now he takes it out. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
So Arcega-Whiteside comes across the middle, and he gets his head taken off along with the interception.
Is it mechanics? Is it mental? What is it with Carson?
When I go back and I watch it, and when I'm going back and I'm looking at the film, I'm seeing some really bad mechanics, and I'm also seeing, okay, he's staring down the receivers. He's looking exactly where he wants to go with the ball, and that, to me, goes back to coaching. You know, when you go back and you look at some of how these professional teams run their situations, and all coaches do this, they always want the quarterbacks to come out of the practice feeling good. So you script your practice for success. So you always have the first 2 reads available to the quarterback. So, you know, you always hear coaches come out of there like, hey, man, we had a really crisp practice. No balls hit the ground. Well, that's because your secondary, your scout team, always give the quarterback his first 2 reads, but that forces the quarterback not to see the field. So you never really go into a situation where the scout team takes away his first 2 reads and makes the quarterback have to see the field. And I think that has a lot to do with what's going on out there.
I'll tell you something. Those of us on the outside looking in, the so-called lounge chair coaches, the lounge chair scouts, we have our own opinion. But the other day at his day after game press conference, one of the many questions Doug Peterson was asked was, are you surprised that Carson, in his 5th year in the NFL, in his 5th year in the same offense, basically with the same coach, appears to be regressing? Doug Peterson initially says, that's a good question. Now, I'm thinking a coach normally would say, I don't agree with you. When we look at the tape, we saw this, that, and the other. But Doug starts his answer by saying, that's a good question, which opens a whole floodgate of speculation that the head coach is thinking some of the same things that we're thinking. Are you surprised that Doug started with, that's a good question?
Yes, I am, because you're used to hearing coaches kind of cover for the players. Even when the player is wrong, you're used to hearing coaches kind of cover for them. Like, hey, man, you know what? We're just going to continue to work on it. I need to put him in a better situation. Not just, hey, I'm just going to throw you out there and be like, you know what? Yeah, that's a good question. You know what? We need to go and see what the deal is with that, because I'm really not too sure what's going on.
All right, so now Doug did follow up by saying, I know Carson tries to be perfect with everything. He wants to make every play, but in a general sense that we just all need to do better. So he did kind of make it an all-encompassed we a little bit later. But those initial words have been resonating all week long. That's a good question. And I'm sure when he uttered those words, Doug is thinking in the back of his mind, uh-oh, I never should have said that.
Well, it's too late now. It's out there. Now you got to go to Wentz and like, hey, man, you know what? What can we do to get you better? Because, I think when I go back and I look at it and you see there has been a regression. And so you say, okay, well, you know what? Is it coaching or is it Wentz? Now, I think some of it is Wentz as well, but I think coaching has a part to play in it too, because you go back to 17, totally different quarterback, totally different player. But now in 2020, it seems like he's gone several steps back. But you look at the coaching staff as it went from 2017, where you had DeFilippo back there. You had some different guys in there that were coaches that held him accountable. Exactly. That held him accountable, and they were considered good cop, bad cop when it came to the coaching style, where one would get in your face and make sure that you need to do it this type of way. And then the other one would kind of like, hey, man, put your arm all around you. So let's try to just keep working to get better. But you're still trying to push him to be the best player that he can be. I don't know if you're getting that same type of situation with Press Teller.
Okay, so, a lot of athletes will tell you when things are going negatively for them, no, I don't listen to the outside noise. I don't read what the media says. I don't listen to radio. That's a lie, because even if they don't listen to it directly, some friend, somebody's telling, man, you should hear what they're saying about you. So even if you don't hear it directly, you got a lot of people around you paraphrasing. Now, moving forward, again, it's only 2 games into the season, still a lot of football to be played. But can that weigh heavily on a quarterback's mind, in this case, Carson Wentz, especially in a highly critical market like Philadelphia?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I tell you, man. Playing for Philly is not for everyone. It's not for the weak at heart, man. This is a market that will, if you don't have thick skin, will chew you up and spit you out and have you ready to go pack your bags and go home. This is a tough market to play for. And, and then you're in a situation where they bring in another 2 quarterback who is extremely athletic, and now everybody, you just got out of the Foles controversy, and now here you are in the Hurst controversy, coming off of a bad game where you just had 8 sacks, 15 quarterback hits, you threw 2 interceptions in that game, and now the next game up, they're dressing Jalen Hurts. That has to play into it, and then now you start feeling like you have to reach and make all of these plays instead of just staying in your zone, seeing the field, and making something happen.
Were you surprised they dressed Jalen Hurts, considering he still doesn't know the entire offense? If something had happened to Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts is your next man up instead of Nate Sudfeld. Are you surprised that they put Jalen Hurts out? He got in a few plays, Basically, he was a decoy. But I was shocked that they dressed this kid.
No, you know what? After you just come off of an 8-sack, 15 quarterback hit performance, you want an athlete back there, someone that can get out there and move around. So yeah, you bring a Hurts in, like maybe he can get out there if the offensive line isn't holding up, because you're going up against Aaron Donald. You don't know quite how Lane's ankle is going to respond. You have Nate going in there at right guard.
Herbig.
Herbig. So you really don't know how everything is going to match up. And you got a defensive front. You just gave up 8 sacks, 15 quarterback hits to the 10th pass rushing team from last year. Now you're going up against number 4. Maybe we need to have another athlete back there if we want to give ourselves a chance, just in case Carson goes down.
Okay, as bad as the offensive line play was week number 1, it was a lot better in week number 2. And now it's time to go in the trenches with Trey. And this is where he starts to salivate, because he gets to talk about his expertise, that offensive line. And Trey, this offensive line kept Carson clean in the pocket all day. 0 sacks on the day for Carson compared to what it was week number 1. What was the line doing? Obviously, Lane Johnson was back, but what was the offensive line doing differently that it didn't do week 1? Break it down.
I think that they really just answered the challenge. I mean, you saw just across the board, everybody came to play, and they took it upon themselves to go out there and try to go dominate this game. At first, going into this game, I felt like, you know what, they're going to slide to Aaron Donald a lot, because that's what they did before. That was the attack before, to go out there and slide to Aaron Donald, make sure that you have a center and guard on him or a tackle and guard on him, make sure that, you have 4 hands on him at all times. But there were times where they were just like, all right, Isaac, we have to slide to the left. Hey, go ahead and handle Aaron Donald, mano a mano. And I think everybody on that line accepted that challenge, and they went out there. Even you saw Nate out there, Nate Herbig out there just putting hands on Aaron Donald as well. They did an excellent job of just coming out there, making sure that the protection was there. And then they come out there again when now the run game, they were out there creating lanes, getting pushed, getting up to the second level. And that, I think, making sure that you had Lane Johnson back out there, I think that really helped Nate as well, just because you had Lane coming back out there. And I think he made Nate a lot more comfortable when it came to the combination blocks. And I think the protection, they just came out there and just played. They really put it out there on the line for the team.
You wanted to single out Jason Kelce in particular for his play. Why? What did you see from Jason Kelce that the general viewer didn't see?
You know what? For me to go ahead and do that, let me just go ahead and go to this film so I can show you exactly how Kelce came out there and dominated this game.
Man, I got to give, Jason Kelce his props from this game right here. Let me just go through a couple clips for you. Here we go. 1st and 10, second quarter. If you don't know who he is, that's Jason Kelce. He's the one that's snapping the ball. He's the center. But look at this receiver screen to the right. Look at how he explodes out of his stance. He gets to his point, and now he turns upfield. Extremely disciplined when it comes to running the screen. Gets to his point, and then now gets upfield. Bam! Running through secondary players. Here we go. 3rd and 2 right here now. Here he is again. Just in case you don't know, that's Jason Kelce right there. He's the center. Here we go. Inside zone. Look at how forceful he comes off on this block right here. I mean, he almost knocked Matt Pryor off of his block. But again, look at him. Bam! Right there. Nice contact coming off. I wish Miles Sanders would have been a little bit more patient and stayed front side. But again, look at Kelce out there trying to finish. Here we go. Now, let's just keep moving. 2nd and 16. Ball on the 5. I don't know how that's possible, but that's 2020 for you. Here we go. Miles Sanders touchdown. Again, now let's just go back and look at this right here. Let's just check this play out. Here we go. Kelce coming off. Now look at Big Nate on the backside of it. Nice combination block. Getting up to the linebacker. Miles Sanders, come back and celebrate with your line, because they're the ones that open that hole up for you. Here we go. 3rd and 4, third quarter. Here we go. Let's just run through this more, man. More plays from Jason Kelce here. Now, look at this right here. Hand playing. Now, he just starts off right here where he throws left hand, right hand. Now, boom. Now, finish coming back because he has the switch off because they're sliding right. Now, he pushes his guys back, comes back for the looper. That's what I'm talking about as a center. Here we go. 1st and 10. 3rd quarter. It's still like 21-16. There he is. Now, here we go. Now, look at this outside zone. Working to finish. Now, look how he comes out of that. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm feeling it now. Now, look at this. Finishing. feeling himself now. Let's go. Let's get back to the huddle. I am balling right now. Here we go. 2nd and 2. Now, this play right here is extremely impressive because you only need 2 yards here. But watch this. Inside zone, he is driving. Now crawling to finish to get these 2 yards. Look at this again. Here he is. Now finish, crawl. I got to get these 2 yards. We trying to get out here and win this game. Now, that's what I'm talking about. This is what you want to see from your all-pro center every Sunday or whatever game day it is. Here he is right here. 1st and 10. Now, this is going to be a receiver screen to the left, but watch the maximum effort from Kelce right here. Now, he didn't get there on time, but my God, he gave you everything he had.
You were talking about how the offensive line was able to contain probably the baddest defensive tackle on the planet in Aaron Donald. Why was the offensive line so successful? Were they double teaming and at times triple teaming this man?
No, sometimes they would go out there and single him up. If it was a run block, they stuck to the rules of run blocking. They came out there, you had some nice combination blocks. You worked up to the 2nd level. And then now when you bring Miles Sanders into the equation, I think that he's a much more patient runner where he'll take that little stutter step and then hit the holes. So, you know, he would allow the offensive line to set up their blocks a little bit more, and then he would hit the holes or hit the gap. So it made the run game a lot more productive instead of a running back that's out there that's trying to hurry up and get there. Miles Sanders is a much more patient running back when it comes to getting into the zone running schemes.
Okay, now this is an offensive line that has already been nicked up going into this season. You know, Brandon Brooks done for the year. Andre Dillard done for the year. Now we find out that Isaac Seumalo will be out for at least 3 games with a knee injury as well. When you talk about continuity and chemistry, how much does it affect when you have to keep moving the parts around?
You know what? First of all, before we get to that, I have said several times over the offseason,
right,
as an offensive lineman, put on some damn knee braces.
Yes.
Put on some knee braces. You don't need to look sweet out there. You're the biggest, nastiest cats out there on that field, man. Put on some knee braces. But then now, because look at this, here you are. You know, and the injury wasn't that bad of a, the guys rolled up on you. That happens all the time in the trenches. Mm-hmm. Put on some knee braces. Knee braces! Okay.
Say it again.
I got that. Knee braces.
Okay. All right.
You need to wear knee braces.
Okay.
But okay.
Are you calm? Are you calm now?
All right.
All right. How much now does his absence affect the overall continuity and chemistry?
It affects it because now you bring Matt Pryor in, and you know, and Matt Pryor came in and he did a solid job. You know, he comes in, he's been working a lot of left side. I think that's why you didn't see him come in when Jack Driscoll went down. Instead, you saw Jordan Mailata come in. So I think they want to get Matt Pryor used to being on the left side. And so when he stepped in there, I think that he did a solid job. There was one time where you saw him kind of drop his inside foot. That, you know, that's something that he's going to have to make sure that he works on because he's been doing so much right guard, right tackle. When the defensive tackle went inside and crossed his face, he dropped his inside foot, which created a lane for the defensive tackle to rush, and it made Carson have to sidestep him and then get upfield. But, you know, that's something that he's going to have to continue to work on. I think that, you know, Matt Pryor has all the tools to play guard. He's very powerful, can create movement when it comes to run blocking. Now it's all about continuing to develop that chemistry between he and JP.
Okay, if Seumalo had not gotten hurt, Pryor's probably sitting on the bench 2 consecutive weeks. Now, he's your stability at that left guard spot. He didn't get to play the first game. Take me inside the mind of Matt Pryor right now, knowing that he could be playing just for 3 weeks and then returning to the bench. What does he have to constantly do? What does he have to constantly keep telling himself for the next 3 weeks?
Hey, let me go out here and make the best of this opportunity. I mean, now you have 3 weeks that you're going to be possibly the starting left guard. Make the best of this opportunity because just in case things don't work out next year or whatever the situation is, you want to put your best film out there. So here, you take this opportunity, get out there and you ball these next 3 games, take advantage of the opportunity, and then however it plays out, it just plays out.
All right, before we continue breaking down the offense, we got a few bills to pay, so I got to read. I got to get in here right now. And with week 2 of the football season in the books, and now it's time to review the tape and get ready for week number 3. There's no better place to get in on all the action than with the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of week 3, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now. Let me emphasize, right now, because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team, and if that team wins, you can cash a cool Benjamin. Now, how are you going to pass up something like that? Don't worry if football isn't for you, because DraftKings is giving all you MMA fans the same great offer to use for this weekend's UFC 253. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code ITB when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during week 3, bet $1 on them, and you can win $100 if that team wins. Yes, $100 if that team wins when you use the promo code ITB to sign up. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, let's get back to some football now. Let's go to the running backs. And you were just talking about what a difference the young man Miles Sanders makes when he's in that backfield. Can you elaborate a little bit further on the difference of having Miles Sanders as your lead back compared to having a Boston Scott or Corey Clement as your lead back?
I think Miles Sanders is a lot more patient when he's back there in the backfield. He takes that stutter step, and he's able to set up his blocks a little bit better. And then when he hits it, he goes. I mean, I think that when you look at what Miles Sanders brings to the table, he's just an elusive back as well. But he can get up there and he'll set up his moves. He'll set up the line. And then now he's a little bit more patient where he can just go in there and make it happen and get in there and hit those holes. And I think that he's a much better receiver out of the backfield as well.
Mm-hmm. He had 23 touches for 131 yards and 1 touchdown. On the carries, he averaged 4.8 yards per carry. Receptions, he averaged 12 yards per reception. To me, he's what I like to call a jailbreaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. He can get out there and cause you some problems. I mean, and I'm telling you, man, the patience that he has in the running game I think is extremely key for him, because he sometimes now he will get out there and hit the hole and like, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to try to cut it all the way back around the field. Hey, man, take what you can get, bury that head and just go. Well, you can't bury your head anymore, because that is it. Illegal thing.
That's illegal now.
I had to catch myself, drop your shoulders and then go ahead and take what you can get.
All right, let's go to these wide receivers, man, because these wide receivers are driving me nuts. All this speed we heard about. I understand Marquise Goodwin decided to opt out. I get it. But you still have D-Jack in there. Greg Ward is a very quick, shifty wide receiver. John Hightower, we're still waiting for Quez Watkins as well. But D-Jack in particular, okay, the man had 2 catches the first game. The second game has 0 catches after the first 30 minutes of play. Now, he ended up with 6 catches, 64 yards. How are you going to let this man, who can stretch a defense, who can kill a defense with the crossing routes, the drag route, how are you going to let this man go a full 30 minutes and not have 1 catch, Trey?
I do not know. This is something that they definitely need to fix, because you saw throughout the game just the body language from time to time with Deshaun Jackson, the frustration where, he's like, hey, man, I need to get some more looks. Get me the ball. And I think also the Rams came in and knew, hey, man, they got a game breaker over there. So let's make sure that we put some coverage over there, send that coverage over there, confuse him, make sure we frustrate him a little bit. Because now when D. Jackson's body language starts changing a little bit, then now you're in his head. But there were just a lot of times where, Carson just wasn't even looking in that direction, was going to wherever the play was called. Carson is staring in that direction, but missing the field to something that could have been bigger on the other side.
When you and I were talking before this show, you brought up something to me and it really registered. You said you thought the pass catchers are being put in bad situations.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Mel, when you go back and you look at the first big hit that Rager took going across the middle, I mean, this is a situation where you're sending them across the middle, and I mean, you had a safety just sitting right there waiting for him. And, you know, for something like that, Carson, you have to see that. You can't send your receivers in there to get their head taken off, because then they're going to stop trusting you. Because there was a time, you know, you sent him in there to go get his head taken off on that particular throw, but then you go down into the red zone, you're on the 2 or 3 yard line, and you send him in there again to let the linebacker take his head off. And then you go fast forward a couple of plays later, and you try to send Ertz in there. Ertz is like, oh, no, I'm not taking that hit. I'm letting the ball go. So, you know, you have to take care of your receivers. I mean, you know, you had earlier in the game where you threw a ball to Dallas and everybody was right there. You had 3-4 defenders right there ready to take his head off. You know, you want your guys to trust that you're going to put them in a situation and cover them and take care of them, because they're running their routes looking back to you and trying to focus on the ball. So they want to make sure that, hey, man, you're protecting me with your throws, not putting me in harm's way. Because, I mean, how many times you think a guy going to take a helmet to the chest like that for you?
Are you saying Zach Ertz is now making business decisions?
Oh, Zach was like, oh, no, did you not just hear me say I played with a lacerated kidney a couple weeks ago? Did you not hear me say that? That ain't happening right now, especially if y'all not talking about paying me my money.
All right, let's go over to this defense. A porous defense it was. But before we talk defense, because I can't wait to hear your opinions on defense, you have a read you want to get in right now.
Yeah, man, I got to talk to you guys about Manscaped, all right? Manscaped has the Manscaped. It's 2020, man. It is 2020, and men are taking care of their junk, man. They're making sure that their lawn.
You can't say junk, man.
Hey, man, well, whatever you want to call it. What you want me to call it? You know,
say your private region. Yeah, private region.
Your
something like that.
Your undercarriage, what you want, man. I mean, you know. But anyway, man, cats are trimming their pubes. Is that better? All right, but either way, all right, so you trimming, man. Guys are they're trimming their pubes, their testicles. They're making sure that they're taking care of their stuff. The year is 2020, man. Men are covering them, taking care of their stuff. At manscaped.com, they have come up with their 3rd generation lawnmower trimmer with the new 7,000 RPM quiet stroke technology. It took them over 18 months to come up with this new trimmer. It features a LED light and, again, another ceramic blade, so you don't go out there and nick your nuts. You know what I'm saying? Because the last thing you want to do is get out there with that old school trimmer, man. You don't know pain until you go out there with that old school trimmer, man, and try to get a close trim. And, man, you snag a little skin, man. I'm telling you, man, now listen. Now, you talk about pain. Now, that's pain. You know, when you mess around and hit yourself with one of those clippers, that old school clippers. So Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0 has a ceramic blade, which is an anti-cutting blade. So now you can get a nice close trim. You have an LED light to make sure you see what you're doing down there. Illuminate the area. You know what I'm saying? And they also have products like a ball chafing deodorant that will make sure that you're fresh throughout the day. That's right, man. Yeah, anti-chafing deodorant. They're going to make sure you stay fresh, man. Manscaped.com is providing products to get men to kind of take care of themselves, man. Male grooming is in, man. You got to get into it. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code TRAY, T-R-A, for 20% off. That's manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com and use promo code TRA TRAY for your 20% off. Get into it, man. Get into it. Manscaped.
Man, hey, look at man. I ain't using no weed whacker, man. I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, man, come on, man. You got to take care of yourself, man. The year is 2020.
Look, I take care of myself, but I ain't going for no weed whacker, man. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm a little hesitant about that. What?
It's a lot, but no, you got to try it, man. It's an
lawnmower.
Yeah, man, it's called the Lawnmower 3.0. With an LED light, a nice little ceramic blade. You're not going to nick yourself, man. I'm telling you, man. Get into it.
All right, man, send me a free one, and I'll think about it. How's that?
Yeah, we get you.
Since you have all the hookups, just send me one. I'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll get you going, man. I'm telling you, man. It's nice, man. And now they also have a nose hair trimmer and everything, man. You got to get into it, man.
Oh, I do the nose hair trim. I got all that now. But you start talking about going below the equator, that's a little different now.
Yeah, man, they got you though, man. It's nice. It's nice.
All right, let's get back on track
too, man. So you can do it in the shower. You know, so you know it's all good.
Okay, let me get back to football. Let me go back to football. And this porous defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we break down the defense, this week on my Gunn on One podcast, I had one of the greatest defensive players and players in general ever to put on an Eagles uniform, Brian Dawkins, Weapon X, on my Gunn on One podcast. And Doc and I had an interesting conversation about what he saw or didn't see from this Eagles defense that stepped on the field against the Rams. Here's what he had to say.
All right, 0-2. How shocked are you that this team is 0-2 right now?
Very shocked. I'm very shocked that this team is 0-2. There's a lot of optimism about this season. We had some guys coming back. Obviously, Carson being in, at the quarterback position, healthy. There's a lot of optimism on the offensive side of the ball with the weapons, and people were talking about all those things. But here we find ourselves at 0-2, and so it's a very frustrating place. Let me tell you that. And I was frustrated to watch the beginning of the game this past week because last week against Washington, you came out, played like we thought you would play, put up points, defense. You did what you were supposed to do early in the game, but then all of a sudden, you didn't come out with no juice in this game. I didn't see it. I didn't recognize the juice. And I know the offense fumbled the ball right away. And so that puts your defense on the field, but that just makes your job harder. It doesn't make it impossible. Meaning that just because the offense turns the ball over, the special teams turns the ball over, doesn't mean we have to give up 7 points. So giving up all those points, the same thing last week against Washington. Turnovers happen, you give up points as a defense on the side of the ball, and that then forces the offense to do other things outside of just, having a balanced attack. And so there's a lot of things we want to talk about. I don't want to get in all of it in the beginning of this, man, but I was very frustrated in the beginning to see the lack of energy that I saw.
What do you think this team in general is lacking right now? I mean, I don't want to push the panic button, but you know how Philadelphia fans are. But what do you think this team's lacking right now?
First of all, there is no panic button. This is the second game of the season. I know there's frustration. Like I said, I'm frustrated. But panic, there is no such thing as panic this early in the season for a football team when you have so many games yet to be played. But I would say that I don't see that fire, like that juice coming back home after losing that game to Washington, the way you lost it to Washington, and you come back home. And so when you come back to the link, I know that there are no fans there, but you bring your own juice, right? You bring your own juice, just like practice. We go out to do scrimmages and whatnot. We bring our own juice, offenses against defenses. We're usually talking trash back and forth, but you bring your own juice. So we don't need the fans. We love them, don't get me wrong, but you don't need them to have juice. You bring your own internal juice to bring to that game. It seems like the Rams had that juice. Like they had that fire. They had that everything that you expected the Eagles to have, the Rams had it. And so off the bat, that is what is missing right now. That true, not fake juice. I'm not talking about you just pretending to be something. I'm talking about that inside fire and push and desire to go out and not just make the play you're supposed to make, but make spectacular plays. So tackles sometimes just don't get it. Making a tackle on defense, in my mindset, it wasn't always good enough. I have to go above that. I have to go, let's call some fumbles. We saw what happened on special teams. A tackle would have been nice there. You'd have been inside the 10-yard line. But no, he caused a fumble on that play. And that helped the offense get into a rhythm. So you got to start thinking outside of the box as far as that is concerned as well.
All right, Trey, you heard Doc say that this team lacked fire, passion on defense. Is that true? How do you lack fire and passion on the defense in the National Football League?
Man, I'm just trying to tell you, I see the same exact thing. When you go out there and you turn on the film, you don't see anybody making any big plays, jumping up, celebrating, and just whatever it is it takes to bring a little energy. Defense is an extremely emotional side of the ball. Just because you can just cut loose and be wild and that's what made Doc so special. I mean, when you see someone like that coming out of the tunnel, hopping around the way he is and all the energy that he brought out there, and then when he made a big hit, you would know, everybody in the stands would know that it was Brian Dawkins that made that hit. When you go out there and you watch the film and you watch these games, you don't see that anywhere across the board. It just seems like, all right, it's business as usual. All right, I made a tackle. All right, I go back to the huddle. All right, I didn't miss a tackle. So to me, especially in a situation like this where you don't have any fans in the stadium, so you don't have that energy that you can feed off of, you need guys that's out there on that field that's going to create that energy, that is going to create that momentum, and you don't see it on the defensive side of the ball, either on the offensive side either, but especially on the defensive side, because defense needs that type of energy. They have to feed off of that.
Who's your defensive leader? Because right now, when people ask me, I don't know who it is, to be honest.
I have no idea. You would love for it to be Fletcher Cox, to be the guy, just because of, not only is he one of the money men over there, but, he's one of you could be a game breaker when he wants to be, but, of course you would love for it to be a Fletcher Cox, but, usually most of the times it's usually a linebacker that's going to be your leader on your defense or something like that. You go back to some of our teams, where you had Jeremiah Trotter and you had Brian Dawkins over there. Then you had Hugh Douglas at the defensive end. I mean, you're talking about three major personalities on the field at the same time. Just imagine the energy that's created during the times that they're playing. You don't have that right now.
Okay, the Rams offense tiptoed through the Eagles defense for 449 yards, 191 yards rushing. Normally over the past several years, when the Eagles defense was going bad, at least you could count on the run defense stepping up and at least controlling that facet of a game. Everything was out of whack. Jim Schwartz said that he went in with a simple game plan. Now, he's played the Rams enough over the past few years to know exactly what they do. They like to roll Jared Goff out. They like a lot of the reverse plays. They like a lot of the cross-field comeback type plays. The Rams did everything that they thought they were going to do. Rodney McLeod even said, Rams didn't surprise us in any way, shape, or form. We knew what they were going to do. Huh?
I would have lied.
Huh?
I would have lied on that one. There's no way after getting rolled over like that I'm going to come out there to the media and just say, hey, man, we practiced all of this. We knew they didn't come with anything new. I would have came out there and said, man, you know what? They came with something totally different. I didn't see any of that on film. Where did that come from? When did they start running reverses and quarterback, all these bootlegs? When did all that start to happen? I thought they were just going to line up and just run regular runs. I mean, no, when did all this happen? When they start using the tight end like that, there's no way I'm going to come out there and be like, hey, you know what, man? We prepped for all this. I mean, we did all of this. We weren't surprised. Really? So you weren't surprised?
Freight train.
You weren't surprised and still got drugged like that? That's a problem.
Well, I'm sure Rodney's thinking, Trey, honesty is the best policy.
Not in that, no, not then. That's, you might want to fib a little bit, just a little bit on that one now.
Can you believe, though, that Jim Schwartz couldn't adjust if he knew what they were doing? Even if his defensive game plan going in was simplified, that they couldn't adjust on the fly? Now, it got better in the third quarter, but then it got worse again in the fourth quarter. So I'm surprised that Jim Schwartz, in a game of chess, and he is a coordinator, not a position coach, a coordinator, you're calling the shots, that you couldn't have counter-moved some of the stuff they were doing better to negate it?
But what could you do? I mean, you don't have linebackers that's going to play downhill. You don't have anybody.
Wait. They have linebackers?
Oh, yeah. They wear linebacker numbers.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said linebacker, I'm like, they got linebackers? Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, you got the white snake out there, man. He's a linebacker, number 47. He wears a linebacker number, and then you got the other one. I mean, you got linebackers. I mean, they put on 50 numbers. I mean, they're there.
I can put on 50 numbers. Did it make me a linebacker? No.
Well, yes. If you put on like a 52 or something like that, yes, you're a linebacker. Welcome to the club. Come on, we need you. But right now, man, you know, when you go back and you look at what's going on, I mean, they were just getting pushed around, and you don't see anybody that plays downhill. And, you know, when you have a team that's going to come out there and give you all this zone run, first of all, your defensive line needs to be disciplined and make sure that they hold their gaps. Then your linebackers, once they hit, you got to crush it. I mean, you know, that's one of the things that made Trot extremely dangerous, man. Trot would play downhill to the point where I even hated practicing against him, because when he came downhill with bad intentions for anybody that's out there, and you just don't see that with this group right here. They don't come downhill. You only had one play in the backfield, and you just, again, I think that's a lack of intensity. You know, that's a lack of energy. That's a lack of, you know what, let's go get it. You don't have anybody out there to kind of rally the troops. Who's your guy? You know, you can't expect Darius Slay to be the guy. He's new.
Right.
So you need someone that's been here for a couple of years to kind of rally the troops, to kind of create that energy, and you just don't have it.
Speaking of the linebackers, I tweeted out after Tyler Higbee had his first touchdown early in the game, I said, Tyler Higbee and the tight ends are going to be a problem for the Eagles all day. Lo and behold, Tyler Higbee had 3 touchdown catches against these linebackers. And I know a lot of it isn't all linebacker coverage, but the most of it is. And when you see something like that on TV, you know what it is. It's a copycat league, Trey. The message has been sent across the league, and every opponent that has a decent tight end can now say we can line up against the Philadelphia Eagles defense and we can exploit their linebackers with our tight end.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what's going to continue to happen. Just like you said, this NFL is a copycat league, and you're going to continue to get tested until you pass it. And so how you're going to do that, I don't know, you know, but you're going to have to, first of all, you have to stop the run. Because now if you can stop the run, then now that makes that offensive team one-dimensional. That's what helped this team before, when they were able to go out there and just shut down the run. No one was coming into Philly or playing against the Eagles and having over 100 yards rushing. That was a guaranteed for years. But now when you go out there and you have a team that can just go out there and have their way with you and just run the ball up and down the field on you, then that opens you up to so many other things, because now here comes the play action behind it. And another thing, that not only with our defensive tackles getting just pushed around, our defensive ends were not as disciplined as you needed them to be, especially when it comes to play action. Every time our defensive ends go, they see that little play action handoff and they go chasing down in there to go try to go crush it. And then next thing you know, you got Goff just rolling on out of there, has all the time in the world to go out there and make a throw, and bam, let me just go ahead and just light y'all up 13 for 13, man. You know, where you only had 1 3 and out where the defense got to stop. They came out and had 3 plays the next time, but it was a touchdown. So, you know, how are you going to continue to do this? You have to go out there and start stopping teams. You have to stop that run, because now that can at least make the offense one-dimensional.
Well, hopefully the Eagles have learned a valuable lesson through these first 2 weeks, because as we now look ahead to week number 3, the opponent's offense is nowhere near as prolific as the Rams, but it is an interesting team that I'm looking forward to watching. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming to town, and this young man, the first overall pick in this year's draft, Joe Burrow, Trey, this young man has some poise, and more importantly, he has some skills, man.
Yeah, and he's hungry. You have a team that's extremely hungry. They're coming off of a 30-point game last week, you know, so, you know, we haven't gotten over 20 points yet. You know, so you have a team right now that put up 30 points last game, Thursday night. So, you know, and this is a team that's going to be hungry for a win. You know, you got the first pick in the draft. He's extremely talented, extremely confident. And, you know, are we going to be able to stop him? You know, earlier in the season, you kind of figured, all right, well, you know what? At least we can take care of Cincinnati. At least we can get that win. But not right now. I'm questioning.
Tell me, Trey. Tell me it's a guaranteed win on Sunday. Tell me, please.
I cannot lie to you, D-Gun. I'm sorry, man. I wish I could sit up here and just say, hey, man, you know what? Yeah, we got this. But I don't know, man. When you go out there and you look at Joe Burrow, he comes out there and he has, he came out there and he just threw 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
That's the way you're looking at it.
Yeah.
I tell you when I listen to Joe Burrow talk, Joe Burrow, of course, led LSU to a national championship. And after Sunday's loss, his last game loss to the Cleveland Browns, he said, losing is unacceptable to me. That's not acceptable. See, I like his mindset. And it appears that the guys that are playing with him on offense are already willing to follow him. The Bengals have lost their first 2 games by a grand total of 8 points. So in their mind, they're thinking, we're within striking distance. We just have to clean up a few little things here. And they've got some interesting weapons to match up with this Eagles defense. When you talk about, they got John Ross III, former first-round pick at wide receiver. A.J. Green, former first-round pick at wide receiver. T. Higgins, second-round pick. He's got receivers that dink and dunk. Don't think he won't try to dink and dunk his way down the field and let his wide receivers, all of which have speed, try to make a play, try to make some separation. And do so. If this defense doesn't get pressure on this young man, they didn't get enough pressure on Dwayne Haskins. They sure as heck didn't get enough pressure on Jared Goff. If they don't get some pressure on this young man, don't underestimate the mindset of a guy who has a winner mentality, who knows nothing except winning wherever he's played.
You're talking about a man, a young man, that after his national championship win, fired up a cigar in a non-smoking stadium. Just fired up a cigar and then crossed his leg and sat down and blew a cigar like it was nothing.
Right.
That's what I do. So he has that type of confidence about him that he just feels like, I can go out here and dominate this game. Now, I just had a tough patch of these first couple games, but we're almost there. And now you're talking about a team that doesn't have any energy right now, that's trying to find that leadership on our defense and with the Eagles. What do you think is going to happen with this team if they mess around and lose to the Bengals? You might start seeing guys like, look, man, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let's see what's going on for the offseason. Let's start playing. Right. When 3 games out, man, because, because if you mess around and lose to the Bengals, you got the 49ers. You got the Steelers. You got the, you got the
Ravens.
Ravens. It doesn't get any easier, So if you got a situation, man, this is almost a must win for this team.
Must win? What do you mean almost? It is a must win for this team.
Well, then, all right, we declare it. It is a must win for this team. They need to have this one, especially if you want to make sure that you have everybody on board throughout the season.
So you're saying if the Eagles somehow, some way find a way to screw this up and lose this game, that a lot of guys may be making reservations at their golf courses and resorts 3 games into the season mentally?
Making sure that, looking for that soft patch of grass to lay down on. Just because I don't want to have any off-season surgeries, so let's just go ahead and get on out of this and just try to make sure we get on out of here, because right now this ain't what it needs to be. This ain't it. So Hey.
And some of them have to be thinking, hey, look here, man. Eagles right now $90 million over the cap. Some of us not going to be here. I got to get my resume tape up for another employer in 2021 as well.
And don't want to have surgery going into it. So, let's make some decisions to, hey, I don't know, especially if you mess around and fall 0-3 right now.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to climb out of. And I think that you might start seeing guys like, all right, you know what? This isn't what I thought it was going to be this year, and checking out. It's a tough environment to be out there with no fan base, and you got to create that own energy. You don't have the type of leadership on that team right now for guys that kind of pull those guys out of there, make those plays and get guys going. So, it's going to be hard to keep that group together if they don't pull this win out.
Well, if there is a ray of hope when you look at the stats, the Cleveland Browns ran through the Bengals defense for 215 yards last week. Now, the Bengals spent a lot of money on defense this offseason with DJ Reader. They brought him in as a big acquisition free agent-wise. And so, I've been reading some of the quotes from the Browns defensive players this week, and they said that can't happen anymore. Now, they're out there making it a tough day for Miles Sanders in that running game, but more importantly, they know they need to get to Carson Wentz. that offensive line better hold up. And again, you got Lane Johnson, Nate Herbig, Jason Kelce, now Matt Pryor, and Jason Peters. From tackle to tackle, they better hold up, because if the Bengals defense feels that they can find a way to feed on that offense, this game's going to be a lot closer than it should be.
Absolutely. You know, this is, again, another time where the offensive line is just going to have to come to play again, you know, and that's the beauty about the NFL. You have to bring it every week. You can never just say, oh, this is a guaranteed win, because then that's when you get embarrassed.
He is veteran NFL, former player Trey Thomas. I'm Derrick Gunn. We thank you for hopping on board for this week, the week's edition of Grilling the Birds, brought to you inside the Birds. For Trey Thomas, I'm Derrick Gunn. I'm sorry, Trey. I ain't using no hedge trimmer, man. I'm sorry.
We're going to get you, man.
The more I'm thinking about it, I can't do it, man.
You're going to get into it, Doug. You're going to get into it. We're going to get you a lawnmower 3.0 with the quiet stroke technology, ceramic blade with an LED light, man. You might go in there and make a design in down there for mama. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Whoa,
you might get creative.
That's too much. Hey, can I use it as a headlamp? Maybe I can use it as a headlamp.
You can put it up there too. Tape it on your forehead and go out there and fix something underneath the car. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That might be something new.
All right, before this gets way out of control, he's Trey Thomas. I'm Derrick Gunn. Have a blessed day, everybody. Go Birds against the Bengals.